Hello, hello. Welcome back. So it's been a long time. I mean, at least a week since we started working or came back to the Next.js learning part. And this in this video, I will be continuing that. And the aim of this video will be to completely cover the routing, like just finish the routing and data fetching, because I do have some sort of like a workshop that is coming in internally somewhere. So I need to be, prepared for that. Yeah, so that's about it. And let's see whether it is like working or not, and then we'll simply jump to it. Yeah, it is working. I'll pop out this chat in case anybody does come here. It's not like they will. So yeah, that's about it. Let me just close this video. I mean, below one folder. It's 10:54 at night in this place where I am currently at. So let's see how long I can actually stream this, and I will be making this as 100% because I will be reading it out. Okay, last time in my last video, we were looking into the link component, and basically it's a built-in component that extends HTML8 tag to provide the prefetching and client-side navigation between routes. It is a primary way to navigate between routes in Next.js. We've already went through this entire thing, and initially in the very beginning, we also figured out that the link component, and this is on the very first video, I believe, first or second video, where we figured out that link component doesn't seem to work as it should when we are using the app and the pages architecture both, right? Because the app and the pages are considered two separate projects in themselves, so the seamless transition in link terms will not happen, right? It will behave as normal HTML8 tag, anchor tag. Okay, so that's the about whatever the link situation is. We also had like, maybe I should just start it rather than just parroting it. Let's see what happened. Okay, we are in package JSON. Oh, okay. So we have to kind of like do npm run dev. I was using before this, I was using I think pnpm, but after this I kind of like am using npm because pnpm does not work with WebStorm or PHP Storm, which is something that I'm trying right now because I do have the license. So I'm just trying it out, and there's a symlink problem in that, which for the last 2-3 years is not fixed. Thank you JetBrains for that. And yeah, so npm works, yarn works. So I'm using npm because I had made a video. Let me just show you the video. I think I have made a video somewhere. If I go to the content, if I go to the live, there's a video somewhere. Yeah, burn 1.0. So maybe I should simply share it. And can I paste it here? Let me just paste it here. Yeah, let me just first go there because this is not a live video anyways, right? And this is a video. Okay, so this video is where I have made sure that, wow, what a UI. I cannot pin it unless somebody, I cannot pin it. One more. Now I can pin it. Okay, cool. So this is the video in which I have talked about how the performance between npm, yarn, pnpm and bun is. Bun is the fastest, followed by pnpm, followed by npm, shocking, and then yarn. So I just converted to npm rather than yarn in that scenario because I was trying to use the uh, php storm. Okay, let me just simply update it and install. So it will update, like this is the next version 13.5.1 which I had. Now it will be up to 13.5.3. Everything will be updated. Okay, let me go back here and we can go to the package.json and we can see whether it is like working or not. Yes. Okay, cool. So we are at the very latest version of Next.js, and this now I will run npm run dev, and we'll go back, not like this, like this. We'll go back here, we'll simply enable it. Cool. Oh boy. Okay, right, this is where we actually left, and we already have this which is like about. We already have this which is fail to fetch. We'll figure it out what this is, but why the about is actually taking this entire reload. Oh, now it is working. Cool. So link is working, right? We figure it out already. Now let's move forward. Linking to dynamic segments. So this is something that we also figure it out, if I am correct. Now we had a blog. Okay, in the header we are saying we want to go here, and we don't have this block as in block. So for some reason, if I click here, it is giving some error. Fetch failed. Why? Let's see. I should be making it like this, a little bit big. Okay, there's an error boundary, fail to fetch. Should I have run something else? Let me check. I am using, oh, okay, I'm using this. And for this, oh, cool. So this is what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm passing this in the dynamic route and with the params. Then I'm passing the ID, which is basically this ID, and based on that, if it is 1, then I'm fetching this. Cool. So just to like make it better, npm, I will say npm install -d concurrently. Right, concurrently, and then I will say concurrently npm. Here I will go below, let's installation rather than usage. Let's copy this, come back, go to package.json, come here, and also I should not have this video capture at all, so I can just simply remove it. Yeah, remove this. Okay, that will save battery. I can have C, which is going to be this, and here I will have npm, no, next dev, and here I will have this whole command like this, and then I'll say npm run C. This will run this server as well as this Next.js, and then I can go back here. Let's refresh. Yeah, it is now working, so I can close this. If I go to block, about blocks, cool, it is working. One more thing that I wanted to do is like put this at the very bottom. uh, let's see, footer always at bottom, not this, not let's see, there has to be a flex. I remember there's a fixed bottom scenario that is always present, so let me just close everything from here first. Go here, go inside this. There's a header here, there's a footer here, so this is a co-location scenario. This is h1. I think it has to do some margin top is as auto. Right, margin top was auto, and then if we set in the layout, we have this children, we might want to make it inside this main, and then this body can be class of flex column. This can be h screen. Where's the children about in this page? Then maybe we'll not need this as main, we can have it as section, and here as well we can have it as section. Same goes here, we don't need this page. Pretty sure it creates a page. So for example, if I have server app blog, yeah, it creates a page which exports the id, exports ids page. No, wait a minute, it does not create a page, so maybe I can just remove this page completely as well, don't need it. Sidebar is here where I'm trying to get all the links. There's a layout here which is basically a sidebar followed by children, and we are trying to fetch the data here. Which does not make sense to fetch there anyways, so I can just like, why here in the first place when we can have like there in itself. I can just remove this, make this as a sink, and this can be await. Now I can go here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a layout, not this layout. Okay, it was taking the block. Sidebar which is blocks. Block. Okay, doesn't make sense. Let's call it block. Maybe I have defined it somewhere in the types or somewhere, because cannot find ul in ts. Where is this block coming from? Oh, Yes, it is coming from here only. So it is a block that is here, then it is like this. What is this? Cannot find name UL. Eh? What? um no, it's a false flag, pretty sure about it. Let's see. Okay, at least that is working, but it should not be then H screen, it should be H full. Okay, so now it will just H screen, H full doesn't make sense. Like this is like this. H screen. Oh boy. Thanks CSS. Let me just check. If I remember Flexbox. Okay, so I'm doing this and okay. Yeah, sorry. It is Flex 1 and that should work. Yeah, this is fine. What happened? Uh, the it expands the entire screen of the screen. Hmm. We set the height and HTML and body elements to 100% to ensure that they span the entire height of the screen. Yes, I did that. It is 100%. This is the wait. Why is it not? Oh, it is like this. Okay, we are doing this, which is 100%. Then this is H1. This is flex, and we are saying that this is margin auto top. We set the margin of body element to 0 to remove any default margin. Don't need this. I don't see the problem here. Let's see. H full. Okay, something is a mess here. We set the min height of the wrapper element to be 100%, which ensures that it takes up the entire height of the screen. Set the display property of wrapper to be flex to make it flexbox container. We set the flex direction of the wrapper column to column. Min H full. No. Then maybe here. Still not good. This is H full. Maybe I don't need this here. Then maybe I let me check here. This is bad, this is also bad, this is also bad. Like, this is good. mm, this is a page container, this is a body, this is a HTML. So for me it is like this. Then there's a header, and which, okay, the page container contains all of this. So I will assume my body is the page container, and then we have a header, then we have a content, and then we have a footer. The page container is basically relative minimum height of this. No, I don't want this. Why is this not working? It just worked every time that I used it. Using Flexbox. I am already using it in so many other places. For example, if I go to my, not here, uh, page store dot codedusting.com. Wow, I also forgot this. If I go store.js dot codedusting.com, this is versal.com. uh what is this? Okay, next store. Cool. Let's see. If I go here, next store dot this guy to this, I am actually using the same technique here. uh oh wait, no, but that is built on pages, so that is fine, but here it is not. We are using this min h uh this, let's see, this is, this is like what? No way it is working like this. Hmm. Okay, let's solve this. Like, why it is happening like this? Because I mean, I don't want this scrolling here. Hmm. This is full. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. First of all, I am here, and This does not make sense here. Why is this happening? How do I land footer always at the bottom? Nahi, I don't want to use the grid at all for all cases. Okay, I am using this. Uh, every answer when you are live never comes up. Let me check from there. Try now. Uh, how to make the footer always remain at the bottom of the page using Flexbox. Wrap the entire page content in a container element such as div. Set the display property of the container element to flex direction to column. Already doing it. Min height property of the container element to handed vh. The problem with handed vh is that, I mean, it works if I, rather than doing this, if I say min this and h full. Problem is that I still have to scroll down because this takes 100h, which is uh, making this height is not being subtracted from the footer. So margin top of the property footer, this will cause the footer element to push to the bottom of the container. Okay, we have this as a body. We can assume this is the body. We have this, we have this, we have this. So the container is this. Okay, let me put this like this. Okay, and it does not require anything here as far as this is concerned. Cool, now it works. Wow, Bard actually did work, and it actually mentioned the source. So let's go to the source to get the credit. I cannot understand the language here much, so doraprojects.net, this is where it picked up. And yeah, so there you go. Okay, we can move forward now that this is like done. Cool. Okay, that was a round trip. Anyways, so we already have done this linking to dynamic segments as well. Checking the active link. Now you can use the use path name to determine if the link is active. For example, to add the path, okay, for example, to add the class to an active link, you can check if the current path name matches the href. Now if I'm going to use this, then I have to make sure that my navigation is now not on the server entirely. It should be this. That's when I will be able to use this use path name, and then a link, whatever, if it is like this, active and all of that. If I'm using this as links. Okay, let's see what we can do, because this is not what I want. I want that to be on the client only. Like for example, this header should remain on the server only rather than the client. So we have this as like our route. Then we have this entire segment, which is this link. So let's create inside this src, let's create a folder called components. if we want, but let's create a components, and here inside we can have clients, and then I can say client link .tsx, and I can use client. I can okay, please connect back. What happened? Yeah, it is working. Okay, so this is how it will be. Now I can use that link, which is path name, use path name from next navigation, and that will give me, I think, this path name, right? Yeah, path name, and then path name can be checked. So here I can supply the path, and I can supply the name, and that could be path, which is going to be string, and name, which is going to be a string. Here I will say path, and here I will say name. For the class, using this template literal, we can check if the path equal path name, then path equal path name, then we can have, like, if nothing then nothing, otherwise we can have, say, bold will cause CLS, underline we can just do for now, and then we can export this to export default client link. Then here we can simply have client link, and that will take path, which will be this. It will take name, which will be home. Similarly, this will be this, this will be this, this will become about, and same goes here, blocks. Okay, and then if we go back, here we are. Cool, now it is like active, and I'm pretty sure if I go to, say, web source, clear it out, make it big, like go to views, source, beautify, source code, view something beautify, beautify. Okay, now it is like beautified. If I go to here, it is. Otherwise there's no class, otherwise there's a class which is href, and all of this is working fine. So yeah, okay, so this is like how I would do the things like in the client. Basically the reason why I put it like this rather than this is because client, I would like to be at the very leaf, right? If I can, like, there's no need to make this whole header as client. If I can make the component where I want to use this hook as client, only that much can remain on the client. The rest can actually simply be server end, and React will figure it out, because server components can have client component as children as per their uh, as per my documentation understanding, and we can actually pass it like so. Okay, so this kind of like works. Cool. One thing that we can also do is, rather than repeating it like this, what if we have some sort of like multiple uh, in real scenario, what used to happen is that even your links come from somewhere else, right? It's not like some sort of like a block. So let's call it like links, right? And navigation links or something, navigations. Okay, and then we can have as id of one name of home and path of this, right? This should do it for the example purpose. Most likely things happens like some sort of like a CMS where links are being generated, so you basically have to fetch that data rather than creating your own link on demand. I mean, status in code you kind of like fetch the data. Okay, so basically this should do it. This should mimic that. Blocks, what is this, blocks or what? Yeah, it is blog only. So block dash one, this should do this trick. Now here, because this is a server component, we can directly fetch the data either through database, either through CMS, either through some sort of like an API. So I am going to be using the API. So it could be like navigations, await, fetch, and let's http dash dash localhost 5000. We can do something similar. So here I can say server URL or JSON URL http localhost 5000. Cool. And then here I can remove this and make it like this, process.env.json URL, similar to here. Is something wrong? Yeah, this works. It's not like there's any error here. And in header as well, we can have this followed by navigations, which will pretty much get all the navigations from here. And then I think it is like JSON, like so, right? Don't forget to actually wrap it like this before the navigations happens. And then you can have within this navigations, you can map, and you can map the navigation, or you can simply say path followed by name. This. And we can remove this. Let's see. I have some problem in the back. So this is going to be type of say navigation, right? And we can then have a navigation type. Of course, this is a very crude way of doing things. There's a lot of optimization that we can actually do, but this should do it. Let's call it ID as number. Then we can have name as a string. Then we can have path as a string. And that should do the trick. For now, this is promise is missing the following properties from type: length, prop, push, concat, and 40 more. Huh. Okay, there's if I'm doing it like this, pretty sure it works for other places. Forget about this. Where's this? There were two places where I have this, right? There's a header, there's a sidebar. Okay, so this is working just fine. Oh yeah, forgot. This should do the trick. And now we just have to no value exists in scope for the shorthand property path. I declare one. Oh right. Move this. This only, not the entire thing. God damn it. Navigations dot map. Let's call it item. Then let's return the li with client link with path of path item dot path and name of item dot name, and make this as key of item dot id. Oh, okay, this works, but for some reason this is not working. Why? Remove this, right? And then I simply want to have it as a JSON. Let's see. Yeah, there's a problem with that only. Cool. It is working fine. Some problem where VS Code, I'm pretty sure. Don't understand. Okay, there was a comma situation. Cool. So this is working fine. And the reason why we do it like this is because if we want, say, one more, right? Like this, and we can have, say, this as 4. Let's call it contact us, and this could be, say, contact. Okay, the moment we change this and go back and refresh, okay, there's a problem why it is not being refreshed. Caching problem. All right, if we change that, there is like a navigation db change reloading done. So it is like done. If I simply go here with the navigations, now it is like this. So we have that, but it is not coming here. So we have to go to header. Let's go to header. Here we are getting the navigations. We are fetching it. Let's also pass something as next, no, cache as no cache. Okay, now it works. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, caching is a very major like wrap around here in this new one, as far as I can understand. What else? After contactors, let's say pricing. It's not like we have pricing, but let's call it pricing. And let's save this, go back, refresh. Cool, we have the pricing. Of course, this will give like error. And the reason why loading is happening is because we also have somewhere we have loading as well. Here we have loading. Cool. Yeah. So what was the idea of loading? If I remember correctly, what is the idea of loading? And do not render, how to figure dynamic meta generation. Yes, we have to do that. Loading was basically, if I go to page layout, loading, I didn't understood the template one and still cannot figure it out, but templates is like this, modifying the head and also the meta generation, right? And okay, we'll look into it. The things that I have to figure it out is meta generation, loading, and template. Let me just write it down just in case. Things to figure out is basically templates, meta generation, meta data generation dynamically, and third is loading, basically when it comes into picture. Okay, I think I understood where that happens, so no need for that. Let's call it this. Loading page takes over during the waiting period of network call to the server and back. This and this is like a problematic thing. Okay, good. So this much is done. Now let's move on. What else is there? Navigating, there is two process. Use router hook is also there. We also did it. We did this as well. Scrolling to an ID, the default behavior of a NextJS app router is to scroll to the top of the new route or to maintain the scroll position for backwards and forwards navigation. If you'd like to scroll to a specific ID on navigation, you can append your URL with a hash link, or just pass the hash link to the href prop. Okay, this is possible since link renders to an this. Okay, disabling scroll restoration. The default behavior of NextJS app is to scroll to the top of the new route or to maintain the scroll position for backwards and forwards navigation. If you like to disable this behavior, you can pass scroll equals false or to the link component, or scroll hash false to router.push or router replace. Okay, we will see both of them as well inside this linking and navigation. Cool. Uh, okay. Let's try this out. For this, what I will do is maybe we can also like separate it, but this is way better. And here the header is here, so I wanted the link to be here as well, but this client link can be used in multiple places. So this structure, yeah, structure is not like it's an evolving thing. We can have like a server and client components, which is much better to understand, or we can just have a co-location kind of like scenario where everything is placed, which is because it's not like going to be routed here anyways, right? But yeah, okay. Or we can have this component inside this app, for example, like this. Update imports always. We can have it like this. Yeah. And then we can also have a new folder called servers and a client, not clients. Right. And server. And then we can just extract it there, this component and this like this. What happened? Okay. And this should do it. This becomes a component inside it. And this will never be like reachable because this folder does not have this. Similarly, we can have component here as well, maybe, and maybe also assets and all of that. I don't know. We might have to look into it. Don't know about this, why it is like this, because we are still going to be using it anyways, right? Yeah. Okay. So of course that one. So we have to have a scrolling thing. So let's remove this. Let's make it like 4XL, font bold and home page only, right? How can we have like about blog, things like that, and rather than this might be having some sort of like a scrolling effect. All of this can be like a scrolling thing as well. Okay. Make sure this is h full. Let's see. Okay. Make sure that this is also h full. Then then this also should be h full. Hmm. Okay. Fair enough. We can have this as say H96. Cool. And Can also have this as flex. This should do it. Okay, now we can, let's see here, justify content center, align item center. Yeah, this should do it. We can just do it like this, center items center for now. And let's have another one like this. We will make it h2, and we can make it as h2 as well, right? Home page 2, home page 1, home page 3. Okay, now we can also make this as bg red of this, text red of 50. This can be bg purple of 950, text purple of 50. This can be gray of, let's call it green of 950, and text green of 50. Yeah, cool. And this should also have been like this, like this. Yeah, okay, it is good. What we can then have is, let's say, a link in the header itself. Header, or yeah, let's do it on the header itself. There's a link that we can have. This navigation is fine. This navigation is also fine. Let's have another navigation where we can say the UL, then there is a list, and we can have a link, home 1, and that can be href, like this. Home 2, that could be href of home 1. This can be home 2, and link of 3, home 3. I am having and then here I should be having ID. Let's see, ID or useref, what should be the case? I can close this. No, let's open that, make it big. Yeah, pretty print with a hash specific ID on navigation. Yeah, let's call it as home 1, call this as home 2, and call this as home 3. Cool, let's go back, and if I click on this, this is home page 2. Why, like, why is it this key? When I am changing this one, this is also changing for some reason. Google Chrome is changing zoom level for all the pages. On your computer, zoom, next to zoom, you want to make everything largest. This, no, this not. How to set zoom level from changing Chrome? Or change setting. Yeah, this way. So it's like 2013 or something. Question was marked as women dev team a couple of minutes ago. They state that this behavior is by design. What a stupid design, and they do not intend to provide per page zoom. The extensions mentioned in other answers be to the only. Wow, wow. What a bad accessibility design. There are sites which are better without zooming. There's like, for example, this. There's site that I need to zoom like this. Like, what the hell? Where is consultant may help you? Call Zoom wheel. You can find it here. Let's see. And that's also gone. Okay, no problem then. I guess we can't do anything. Oh, look at that. Can't do anything. And this goes here. Cool. So it is working fine. That should do it. We'll look into it. What about the scroll effect? Like scroll effect. Yeah, of course. This is also we have to check. So I am right now in 3, right? So let's also make this entire section as sticky. We'll see what happens. Maybe not sticky, I guess. Fixed. Something like that. I just want it to be like fixed. Oh boy. Anyways, we are here. So if I go to say blog, and I can then simply remove this. I don't like to do CSX while I'm live streaming, as little as possible because it's a headache. And then if I go back to say home, okay, it is not going there now. I'm here, then I go here, then go here. It's not going back here. I'm here. Like, what is this? Scroll to an ID. The default behavior of NextJS app is to scroll to the top of a new route or to maintain the scroll position for backwards and forwards navigation. Okay, so it is like top of the. Okay, if you'd like to scroll the specific ID navigation, you can append your URL with a hash, or you can pass the hash link to the prop. The default behavior of NextJS app route is to scroll to the top of a new route or to maintain the scroll position for backward and forward navigation. If you like to disable, like it is not even scrolling anyways now. Why am I understanding it wrong? Let's see if I in this one to, don't understand what this is anyways. The default behavior. What is disabling scroll restoration? What is scroll restoration? Traditionally, when you navigate to a previously visited page on a web browser, you would find that a page would scroll to the exact position where you were before you navigated away from that page. Okay, let me check this out then. What I can do is now I can have say a button, not in this, like I can just simply have a link to blocks and just make that this is block 1. Okay, and then I can go here. Let's check this out. I am in this part. I'm in this part. If I click on here, I'm right now. If I go back, I'm back here. Okay, what will happen if, like, how should I actually make it like not scrollable? Settings, outputs, scroll to false. Should I make it here? Scroll to false. Let's check. Block. Nope. Nope. This is not it. Then is it here? If I click scroll as false, block, scroll. Okay, so that is where we have to simply put this. It will not work, but oh wait, so it disables pretty much everything. This works, but this will not work. And it's not like it does not work, it literally does not work. Okay, got it. So this is how the scrolling is basically. Don't understand why this has to be like disable scroll restoration. It simply disables this scrolling in itself, or maybe I'm not able to understand it correctly, but it simply disables the scrolling in itself. And yeah, scroll restoration, let's clear their account. Traditionally this is called and has been a bit of regression since web application have started moving towards client-side data fetching. This not longer the case. Out of the box, most more queries, including pagination and infinite queries, just works and blah blah blah. Yeah, I mean, don't understand why we have to do this. Like when there's no, like, okay, I understand this, so disable, but the example that is giving here is bad. Like there's no need for us to disable anything here, unless like this is how it is, right? Okay, let's move on to use router. I will first of all remove this. I don't need this anyways. And we can also remove this whole thing as well. Okay, get back to the basics. Now let's talk about this use router thing. Let's see. The use router hooks allows you to programmatically change routes. This hook can only be used in the client side content. Basically, any hook can only be used in this client side is what I'm getting till this point. So yeah, it's imported from Next Navigation, and this is a button type of button type button, and this is a dashboard. Full list of use router is here. Let's see. One is basically recommendation: use a link component for navigation unless you have a specific requirement for using reuse router. Yes, so this is something that I wanted to say. One is I first have to check whether it is working or not. Yeah, it is working anyways. So the first thing is like link is basically an accessible component, right? Like for the screen readers, link is better than, let's say, if I put button, which can have any function, right? You have to define the role of the button then as well. Whereas link is like straightforward. This is for navigation only. Cool. So unless there's a CTA, anytime there's some sort of like this sort of like a link, it's better to always have like link element unless there's a button. So for example, let's code it out then. Okay, let's figure it out. Okay, so the home page I want is to be a section of containing two sections. One is like left part and the other can be, say, right part. Okay, the right part can have an image component, which is an NextJS image component, and let's go and figure it out, some sort of like an image which can be from pixels, and let's say coffee. We can have this as coffee. Thank you, Tyler Nix. And we can have a free download. Okay, let's see. Can I put it here or not? Cool, I can do that. Great. So inside the components, we have this. Let's first rename this to coffee. And then here inside this app itself, let's have a folder called assets. Inside that I can have images, and then I can have this, right? Hopefully this will not be much of a problem. And yeah, we can remove this. SRC can be I'm inside the page, so SRC can be assets, images, coffee dot jpeg. I'm pretty sure, yeah, jpeg. Then I also want to have like a width, like an alt of coffee mug. Cool. Let's see whether it is working or not. We can remove this. SRC with this is missing width property. Okay, let's we can look into it later. I can have here as width of, let's call it 480. Let's see. Yeah, let's call it this, and let's say the height is auto. Aspect ratio is, here I can have fill property, and priority I can set as true. Let's see what happens now. On NextJS fails to pass, must be within the slash. If using relative image, it must start with a slash or be an absolute URL. What we can do is simply import this as coffee image from assets, app assets, images, coffee, and then we can simply make this as the case here. and this should work. Yeah, it is working fine. We'll look into this, like how the entire thing is actually working. Maybe we can also have like this, right? Okay, something is a complete miss. Oh, look, it is going with the position of this and that. Okay, we'll look into it when we go there. Uh, for now, I can simply say, let's call it width of 320 and the height of 320. For now, this should work. Yeah, it works. Second, here I can have, say, a heading, which is going to be 4XL font, going to be bold, and then we can have the finest brew, right? Can have this. We can have a description of lorem something. Make it like only 8 words. Let's go with this as text LG, font semi bold, and that should do it. Now finally we will have something called CTA button. So button is basically, say, role of button checkbox. As you can see, this is like a way lot of, dialog, feed, figure, form, grid cell, so many. And let's see, we have nothing, right? So roll off is button of button. So, but we don't need this role, because if this would have been a div, then yes, but right now no. Type can be just simply button. Yeah, so this is a CTA, and CTA can be like, say, can have gray 950, next of, I mean, text of gray 50. We can also have px of 4, py of 2, and then we can say go to blocks. I mean, nothing is matching, but who cares, right? We can have this, go to blocks, and we can remove this. Okay, it is like fine. And then I can have my whole right hand shoulder is like, is a pain. Justify between items as center as well. H should be full, and that should do some trick. Yeah, and then we can have a flex of 1. Similar, I can say here, like I don't need this, so flex of 1. Let's see, it is working fine. Okay, this is working kind of like fine. We are not focusing on much on a CSS in the first place, but this is good to go. We can also have this as, say, 6. This can be like this, and let's also make it as Excel. Let's make it as rounded as well, and let's see how it looks like this. Cool. And we can make it X as center as well, so flex, and then let's see how it will look. Okay, we can then have justify center, items center, right? And this should do it. We can have this height as auto. We don't need this height then. And this is fine. We can also have a padding here of px of 4 and empty of 6 for now, and this looks fine. Okay, so we can also do one more thing. Here I can have flex call with a gap of 2, gap of 2 items of start, justify start. This should also be fine. Yeah, so basically this can be like anything. Now this is link, right? But it is possible that we need some sort of like this is a CTA button, right? This also is CTA buttons, is especially the sign up, but this can be specified as link as well. Now thing is, link is pretty much okay, right? Link is pretty much okay. And in case you don't know, at least till just old version of next, here also we can have next on click. Now on click we can fire something here as well. So for example, send analytics, let's say this is a function, and we can actually create a function which says send analytics, and that could be, for example, in db.json we can have analytics data, let's say. Okay, and this could be like anything. We don't have to worry about it. We can just say data here can be of an object can be of like id. We may not even need the id, let's say, because it's just in logging data, let's say. We can have event can be logo clicked, and then we can have a bunch of properties, right? Or what we call data. So we can have, say, data, and here then we can have like name. So this could be like next router, page section, header, and that's about it, right? We can have this, and then we can also have a send of await of fetch. We can do this as server, I mean process.env dot json url, and then we can have analytics. Here we can have a method of post. We make this as async, and this is like a post as well. This will have a body of json stringify of that data. Headers will be not this. Headers will be basically content type of application json, and that should do it, right? This will simply have some sort of like a fetch request to send analytics, and this will also work on link. So for instance, if I am here, there's nothing here. Handlers cannot be passed to client component props. What is this on click function? If you need interactivity, consider converting part of the client component. Where I'm doing the client component thing. This is on click, so it's not even a client component. No, I don't need this. Event handlers cannot be passed to client component props. I'm not having the client component here, right? Am I like making a mistake? Basically, we can't do this, right? Then basically that's what it is being said, that this is not possible. Yes. Okay, but this is pretty much possible in, like, for example, if I say send analytics and pass the send analytics here, and then here I can have data, which could be, I mean, it should be possible. Let's see. This function is completely, I mean, this will go on a browser. I'm breaking a lot of stuff, I'm pretty sure, with the new feature. But let's say this is something is like happening like this, and here I can have send analytics. This will be send uh analytics, and I will make it as any. Then on click is possible here, right? Okay, something is missing here because let's see, link does not have on click for some reason, but still the VS Code is allowing that, which is like something is like bad on that front anyways. So let's check this out. Also, I will not go till this point. Okay, uh make it like analytics. Okay, NextJS link on click. How do I pass href to on click function? This handle on click function component. Pretty sure it is not working or what? Yeah, see, it is like possible in a way. Uh, this, however, does not work. Spell on click does not fire. In the working example, method referenced will fire, but this is for the old on link, right? Which was bunch of wrappers. The new one is going to be directly on that only, right? Unless, of course, we can just remove all of this, right? I can remove this. Arch as href, and then I can have this here. I don't know. This should work. Uh, and this as well. Do we need this? Yeah, we need this. Do we need this here? Maybe not. Still the same. Event handlers cannot be passed on client component props. But I was passing it in the pages router. Why is this not happening? Event handlers cannot be passed to client component props. Yep, it's a NextJS 13 thing. That means there's a problem in terms of analytics for sure. Uh, the file where you are using handle click, because all components just by default as a component before. Therefore, for client side interactivity, you need to use client. Yes, has issues and is in component. Yeah, you can't use fetch in client components. Next.js recommends using a data fetching library like SWR or React Query. This seems like a backward step. I believe you could find click handlers in server components next. Yes, you could have done that. In GCP ISR, you could choose only single hydration method for the entire route or page. Now with server component, you can choose hydration method for each at component level. Yeah, this is good. But something is like a mismatch, something is not. Can be imported into server component, but not the other way around. Okay. Okay, so basically, what this basically says is that we don't need this. Okay, sorry. We have to make sure that this is inside this component itself somewhere here. Async is not going, yeah, it will work. And then basically I might have to like make this as client as well. Here I will say class name. Well, it's not good. Now I lost everything. It's not like I'm making this client component completely like that only. So yeah. Okay. And let's see. Yeah, at least this is working fine. Then basically what I will do here is this analytics thing. If it's a logo, okay, let's see. If it's a logo, we can also do this. If name equals Next.js app router. Of course, this is just a functionality, like I'm just messing around. It's not like there's a better method, pretty sure about it, but right now I'm not able to figure it out. This at least. Okay, now it is not giving any error at least. Sorry. So if I refresh this, right, nothing is happening. I click here in this home, refresh, nothing happened. Blog, nothing happened. Router, and let's see, why is it like this? Network, fetch, something must have fired at least. Yep, there's a get navigation. There should be a post thing that should be firing. When I click on this, okay, let's see what is coming here. Right, on clicking, first of all, make it no throttle, and then console. When I click here, it is Next.js app router. Next.js app router. And then I'm saying this, then I'm doing this. Let's see if I try this, catch it with the error, console.error as error. Not found. Slash, oh, okay, wait, what is this? env. Yeah, I am doing this env. Oh yes, now it's a matter of like, if it's a client, then we have to have this and make it like this as well. Then inside this I should be having next public, like so. Cool, it should have worked. Yep, now it is working, and the ID is actually automatically generated. So yeah, I can go back and do it again. It worked again. So this is kind of like a event situation that we can actually build. Then on top of that we can actually build data analytics and all of that, but GA4 is basically what is being used. The reason why I did this is because GA4 is a necessity for most industry application anyways, right? in which case in which case this analytics scenario, I mean, link will always be in that sense kind of like a client component, right? And yeah, and link is always preferable than use router, unless it's a button which mentions here, right? Button. And use router cannot be like utilized inside the server component anyways. So inside this component we have to again go and client button, let's say, and then we will have to say, first of all, use client, then const client button. Here we will have this we will have, let's say, CTA, right? And CTA will be, say, string. Of course, we also have things like we can extend the prop of BT button so that the classes and all of that can actually happen here as well. But for now, I won't be doing that. And then we have this. So now we can say router as use router. While that is happening, something got missing or what? On click, we will have router dot, here I have to bring it out. Use router. Cool, it is not working for some reason. Let's say navigations. Okay, VS Code, come on, run. Cancel, yeah. Router dot push, and we can take them to say block dot one. Okay. Cool. And what we can also do is route to block, which is going to be a function, right? Route to block, and this is where we will do this. But before we do that, we can also have like this client component, and also have this send analytics. somewhere here, and we don't have this, so we can just remove this. For now we can just have this as like this. Okay, and this will be CTA clicked. This will be go to something, go to block, and this will be section can be like hero. Okay, things works fine, everything is like fine. And we can also have send analytics, just call it like this. So like, see, the reason why I'm showing this is because it says use link component for navigation unless you have a specific requirement for using use router. This specific requirement is something like, what could it be anyways, right? For example, this says for all boolean we can perform a client-side navigation to the provided route. Yes, in Next.js 13 the link component can be completely server end now, so that is good. And unless there's an analytics involved, you don't have to make the link component client side. You, unless there's some sort of like this active state is involved, you don't have to make it client side again. So yes, there's that. But other than that, this replaces basically perform a client side navigation to provide a route without adding a new entry into the browser history stack. Browser history stack is basically what almost every, I mean, browser history API is what almost all the JS framework use to navigate, right? This history API is what most of the, like, this is the underlying tech or the API which is being used by all these frameworks when you use link component or all of that. Router refresh is for refreshing the page current route, making the new request to the server, refetching the data request, and re-rendering the server, right? Refetch is basically provided route for faster client side transition back to go back. I mean, this back and this forward is being done from this. So the link component automatically prefetch routes as they become visible. Refresh could reproduce the same result if the fetch requests are cached. Okay, fetch request, if they are cached, the refresh will be the same result. Yeah, that's pretty much understandable. Other dynamic functions like cookies and headers could also change response. Migrating from next router. Okay, previously it was next router. Use router hook should be imported from next navigation and not this when using app router. Now technically if you look here in version 13, this is also possible, right? This is also possible. And I should also give this as default client button, and then we should be using this right here, client button, and CTA equals go to block. Okay, now if you look there, it will give this error, right? This error. Why? Because we are trying to import it using next router. The reason why we have this is because we still have the pages directory, so maybe that is the reason. I can stop this, right? That could be the reason. Yeah, pages router may we have next router itself. So for importing purpose it will show both, so make sure that this is always navigation one. Path name string is from path name, query is from search params, and router.events has been replaced. So router.events, you can listen for page changes by composing other client components hooks like use path name and use search params. Expect use search params, navigation events. This is this of path name, return null. You can now use current URL. Okay, so basically the URL is composed of this, which can be imported into a layout. Navigation events is wrapped in a suspend boundary because use search params causes client-side rendering up to a closest suspense boundary during the static rendering. Okay. Also, the suspense boundary is like going up, up, up. So for example, if this is not present, then it will try to have a like for example, this is the parent suspense boundary, but if you have some sort of like a suspend boundary here as well, then that will be called, if that is not present, then above, and then above, then above, things like that. Okay. Disabling scroll rotation. Yeah, we can pass this scroll as false, and yeah, use report web vitals is not something that I would be looking into much. But yes, so yeah, so this is like a API DOS function of use router, and that should do it. Use path names we already use search params. Basically, let's see what this actually does. One more thing, we have nothing, but if I click here, I will go towards, okay, there's something happened. Route to block, I am doing this. Yeah, let's see what happened. Oh, have to call it. We are here and this is here. Cool. So use router is like this. Again, let's always use, basically the idea is to always use the link as much as possible, unless there is a situation where button has to basically where button requires some sort of like a navigation, right? This is basically what I get in terms of accessibility. I would say that all the CTAs should be button. So there, if the CTA is where you want to, navigate, maybe you can do it like this. Otherwise, link is fine. Some sort of like a screen reader and all of those things should be available, right? Okay. Okay, cool. So that is pretty much done. What is next? Use params. Let's also look into that. Use params. Let's see. All hooks can only be done or applied on the client end. Observation number 16 is basically use router is now a part of next navigation. Also, we have use path name and use search params inside it as well, right? Use path name is for path name, use search params is for queries. Let's look into this as well, just a little bit. So if I need this like query, so where can I do that? Here's a client button. Here's this client button. Route to blog. Maybe I can say something, right? And then we already get this, right? The params. At least on the server end, we already get the params using this. So don't see the like how can we actually utilize this? Let's say this is the thing. This is a search params. Okay, search bar, right? For the search bar, search will be this. Search bar, search. Hmm. Okay, this is one. This is nothing. Search params dot get. Like I don't know exactly like why as yeah, it's a basic URL search params web standard API that they have implemented, but like where will it be used anyways? Use search params is a client component hook and is not supported in the server component. Prevents stale values during partial rendering. If the application includes a pages directory, use search params will return read only URL search params or null. The null value is for compatibility during migration. Since search params cannot be known during pre-rendering of the page, that doesn't use get server side props behavior. Static rendering. If the route is statically rendered, calling use search params will cause the tree up to the closest suspense boundary to be client-side rendered. This allows a part of the page to be statically rendered while the dynamic part that uses search params is client-side rendered. Okay, let's do this. This page is single page. Let's make it as client like this. Then we cannot do this. Maybe I can just copy this, make it like this, paste it here, remove this. We also don't need, perhaps let's not do this. Here I can say id equals like search params equals use search params, and then I can say id equals search params dot get id. I can then also not do this. So basically I have to wrap this inside this use effect, and here I have to do like fetch data oh boy async this return as title description fetch data. Inside this I will have title description as await fetch data, and also need to have like title and description. So let's say title set title equals use state title uh, description set description. Once this is like fetched, we don't need this, we can just have this. rather than returning it like this, we can have set title as title. We can then have set description as description, and we can then simply call this, right? And this should work. Let's see. If I go here, yeah, it is working. If I click here, okay, something just went bad. Yeah, it is working. Promise syntax, doc type not valid, blocks, homes, undefined post null, undefined post null. Isn't this how it should be? Like I am getting it from use search params. Let's see what this search params is. Yeah, it will not be search params. Kind of like the query thing is where the search params will be, if I am correct. Right. So for instance, if I am on the sidebar, rather than this, let's also have id as id. Hmm. Get all. Yeah, we are getting this. So what will happen if rather than this, I'm saying give me the ID. Is it an array? No, this is an ID. In promise syntax, unexpected token, blah, blah, blah. Hmm. Okay, now that it is like client side, so next public, this should work. Okay. Yeah, now it is working. But if I remove this sidebar, if I remove this, it will again not work, right? Yeah, it is null. So cool. But pretty sure that we can get that as well. Like if I go to here, I can anyway get this. It's not specific to, yeah, let's make it ID2. This is not specific to server component, right? So we are going to get it. And there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 render for some reason. Don't know. And to be honest, don't really care. Okay, 1 time, 2 time, things like that must be the reason. Cool. So this is how it is. Like anything that is after question mark is coming from use search params, right? Again, don't see much use case for now, at least. Maybe pretty sure it's basically for the search parameters for sure. Like if I type something on search bar and press enter, and then that page is going to be like a query thing. For example, this one, hello world, right? So this is going to be a page which should be rendered on the client then, because see this, Anything after this is basically queue is basically what we are looking at. Okay, cool. uh, Navigation, how routing and navigation works. The app router, what is this? Hmm. We went here, now we can go back. The app router uses hybrid approach for routing and navigation. On the server, your application code is automatically code is split by route segments, and on the client, okay, and on the client, Next.js prefetches and caches the route segments. Okay, this means when the user navigates to a new route, the browser doesn't reload the page, and only route segments that change re-render, improving the navigation experience and performance. Prefetching is a way to preload a route in the background before the user revisits it or visits it. So I think this is what they are talking about. If I just simply load this page, not here. If I go here, all fetch. Okay, I'm not able to see anything. So there's a lag, right? Loading. So prefetching is basically saying that I will load it. See, loading does not happen. That's what it is basically saying. A link, there are two ways the routes are prefetched. Routes are automatically prefetched as they become visible in the user's report. Didn't happen in my case scenario for some reason. Prefetching happens when the first page loads or when it comes into view. Route.prefetch is a function. Prefetching behavior is different for static and dynamic routes. Okay, defaults true, the entire route is prefetched. For about and all of that is not happening. At least that's what I think. You can disable by prefetch. Have I disabled it? Let's see. Have I disabled it? No. I have not disabled it. So, I mean, not entirely disable it. Prefetching is happening there as well. Like, don't see it happening though. What am I missing? If I do it like this, if I refresh localhost pages and all of that is here, fetch request is here. Okay, let's build it and see whether this will happen or not, because yeah, when I click on this, then this is happening, not before that. Okay, let's build it and see what happens. Npm run build. Oh right, it will fail. I have to, pretty sure it will fail, because let's see whether it fails or not, because the JSON server is now paused. Yes. Okay, let's see. Npm run JSON server, right? Then I will say npm run build. Okay, now it built perfectly. And in this build, they have removed the pages folder entirely. Is it? I mean, if I don't have the pages folder, it is gone. I should be able to do something here. If I have a pages folder, if what will happen? Come on, do me some favor. Let's see what happens. Right, let's have a pricing page. Let's have index.tsx. Let's have pricing here, pricing like so, and we have to default it to pricing, right? Isn't that what we had? Yeah, pricing. So what gives, whether it works or not? Search params is possibly null because I have added pages. Is that why? Where is it? Mm-hmm. For the first time it ran, so pretty much the pages is the only thing that changed. Yeah, it works. Now we have like app and then we have pages, which is like this page. Yes, so that's what they did. They optimized it. If I don't have the page, then nothing will actually work. But if I have the page, it will go like this. So now I can just npm start and then we can look into it. By the way, once the npm is kind of like started, we can remove this, we can do this entire thing. We can go here either. Okay, in the build itself, I mean, once the build is completed, then we have this. The about is also here. Already on the home page itself, it fetches it. Pricing is also being fetched. Contact, of course, it failed because there's no contact. Login and sign up also failed. But this is prefetching that only happens in build, I mean in production. So let's also write this down as one of the observation. Otherwise we cannot check this out in development, I guess. Prefetching in link or router.prefetch happens in production build only. Okay, cool. And if I can actually do this once more, see, this is a completely new thing. I mean, this is a different app in itself rather than whatever the previous app was. This is different app, this is different app, right? Of course we can import and export all of that scenario like we did in the first thing, but yeah, I'll just put it here because why not. Okay, static routes prefetch happens by default. Yes, but as you can see, the block was not being prefetched because this was a dynamic route. So prefetch defaults to automatic. It happens or it does not happen. For example, if I click here and do this, there's no blog here, right? But if I click on this, say blog, now only one, and now it is like automatic. Once I am here, then it becomes automatic. So this will be this like this, but you can see that this is like happening again and again, right? And this is basically, and even in home, if I go to about, in home about, it is like going to happen. See, dynamic, it happens again and again. Whereas in static, it is not. Once it figures out, then it is not happening. In dynamic, it always happens. Okay, cool. We kind of like got it. So let's also note this down. Static refreshing happens here. Static routes are prefetched and cached. Dynamic routes are automatically prefetched in automatic setting, and every time the route is changed, fetch is run again. Fetching happens again basically. Okay, caching. Now let's see. Next.js has in-memory client-side cache called router cache. As users navigate around the app, React server component payload of prefetched route segment and visited routes are stored in the cache. This means on navigation, the cache is reused as much as possible instead of making a new request to the server, improving performance by reducing the number of requests in data transfer. Okay. Okay, yes, we use no cache, right? And this is caching data. In data fetching, we'll look into it. We'll look into it in data fetching. But let's simply make it like this. We note it down because why not? Right? And as user navigate to the app, React to the content payload of prefetched route segments and visitors stored in the cache. Okay. This is exactly what we just saw. Back and forth, about was cached and the dynamic routes was not. Possible server improvement performance. Okay. Partial rendering. Partial rendering means only the route segments that change on navigation re-render on this client, and any shared segments are preserved. For example, when navigating between two sibling routes, settings and analytics, these settings and analytics pages will be rendered, and the shared dashboard layout will be preserved. Okay, let's check this out because this is a shared layout, right? So what I can do is basically inside this app, inside this block, inside this sidebar, which is a shared layout, right? Let's do something called console log sidebar. Okay, and then inside this, let's also do this is also on the client. Okay, let's do console log side main page. Let's see what happens. I should basically, this is server. Okay, I should do stop this, run dev. All right, npm run c. I go here in the console, fetch. Okay, this is a main page. Where's the sidebar? Okay, sidebar main page 1. Wait a minute, isn't this client? Okay, sidebar is just not client. Okay, okay. Now if I go to this, anything? Nope, no sidebar, so it is not being rendered. Here again it is being rendered, but not this. Okay, what will happen if I make the sidebar as like use client? uh First of all, this should fail, right? And then, you know what, rather than doing this, let's simply, do it like this. Make it like so, 1 2 3. We can just remove this and also remove this for now, right? We can remove this and we can do it like so. Also we can remove this and we can say post 1 2 3. Okay, sidebar and all of that is fine. Let's make it like post 3. Sidebar is not rendered, there's no sidebar again. Pretty sure that is the case with this here as well. Sidebar main 1, sidebar main 2, sidebar main 2. Okay, and okay, what about this? There's no sidebar on the client, but on server it will run. Sidebar. Okay, on server it is also not running. So on server nothing is being run because I am pretty sure everything got cached. Right. But initially it ran, no? Initially it ran. Let me check. Okay, server is here. If I go to blocks, I will get sidebar 1 2 3 4 5 6. Don't know why there's like 6 times, but here I will get nothing here. Nothing is happening here. What? And then nothing is going to happen here. Okay, when I remove the cache, then it is happening. Now let's see what will happen if I am on 2. On the client, nothing. This like the sidebar is not re-rendering, but on the server itself, nothing will happen because both are client. Okay. Okay. Kind of like got it. So let's put this back. Let's put this back as well. Make this back, remove this, and that should do it. Okay, and sidebar is here, but it will only run once no matter how many times I do it. And sidebar on the server will never, on the client will never run because it is like, well, yeah, it is a server component. Cool. uh Kind of understood it. But like if I make this entire thing like this, make it this, bring this thing back like so, and just make this also as a server component, right? And main page like so, then I can go here, refresh. Okay, we are here. If I go to the blocks, it should be like sidebar, and it should be main page, right? Because sidebar is fetched from this, main page is fetched from this. If I change to 3, oh, only main page. Change to 1 again. Okay, now even that is cached. Cool. So change to 2, this will happen, but now nothing will happen. No, it is happening. So it is working in a very like, okay, it will work. It has some sort of like an inbuilt manner of working. But yes, one thing is clear, and that is to say that caching data is, I mean, this partial rendering is happening. Without partial rendering, each navigation would cause a full page re-render on the server. Rendering only segment that changes or reduces the amount of data transfer and execution time, leading to improved performance. Okay, cool. Got it. By default, the browser performs a hard navigation between pages. This means the browser reloads the page and resets this React states as user state, hooks in your app, and all of that. Browser state, such as the user scroll position. However, in NextJS, the app router uses soft navigation. This means React only renders the segments that have changed while preserving React and browser state. First, foremost, partial rendering of the route segments happens in next app. Example sidebar block page, right? We can have that. Then there's a soft navigation thing. Also, it's basically regardless of client or server component, the sidebar won't sidebar, which is common to all the block pages, won't re-render again and again, and only the block page main area will re-render. Okay, and then there's a soft navigation thing. Performs hard navigation between pages. There's no full page reload. Yes, soft navigation is basically using history and all of that. So this is basically soft navigation, if I'm correct. Right? Is it still like running or not? Hello? Yeah, it is running. No problem. Okay, so this is like soft navigation. See, this is soft navigation. The browser is not reloading. This is hard navigation. This will reload, and that's about it. Back and forth navigation by default, Next.js will maintain the scroll position of back and forth navigation and reuse the route segments in route to cache. Okay, fair enough. Now let's go to route groups. I think this is done and dusted. Yes. Now we go to route groups. In the app directory, nested folders are normally mapped to URL paths. However, 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 you can mark a folder as a route group, prevent the folder from being included in the route's URL path. Okay. This allows you to organize your route segments and project files into logical groups without affecting the URL path structure. Okay, basically it means that like the URL path structure will not be affected. So for example, if I have say dashboard, if I have which is auth specific, right, then maybe I can have a folder maybe with some sort of like a pattern that they might have come up with. Yeah, convention, let's see. Okay, so basically what I'm thinking of is in this direction. Yeah, save it. I'm thinking of in this direction inside the app I might be having a new folder, say public, right, and then I can simply have this about there. No, I don't care about that. I can have blog there, and I can have say asset there, I can have components there, right? Pretty much everything I can have there, including the layout, loading. What happened? Why this keeps on like, don't save no. I don't care about this NextJS. Uh Loading inside the public, pages inside the public. Do it. Right. And then maybe I can have say a private, and within that I can maybe have a dashboard, right? And let's have a page.tsx. Let's have a dashboard which says dashboard private. Of course I mean there will be no private right now, but like this. And if everything is like what I understood is fine, then if I simply rerun this, module not found. Okay, this is problematic, I guess. Then like for example here, do I need to have this like public? Similarly here is fine. This is also kind of like fine. We're going back, we are going back. About assets is fine, blog of sidebar, this is fine, layout is fine, this is also fine, header. Okay, this is problematic in terms of the It's not able to figure it out. That I am inside this app. Okay, wait a minute. This is not able to figure it out that things has to be like this. Oh boy, this is bad. Let's see. Yeah, it will default to this way of routing then, rather than this. Like, it is not working. And this import path is giving some sort of like an error. Yes, and here also it will be like this. Right. Let's see what happens now. Okay. So basically inside this public folder, I mean, I can have a route group with this, and even though in terms of file directory it is requiring that I put this folder there, right, in the import path, but in terms of URL structure, like, that is not happening, right? I'm still serving the app. Now if I go to say dashboard, yep, here it is, the dashboard. The problem here is basically this is a, okay, it will create a layout automatically for this dashboard, for this private. Wait, what? No, I mean, this is bad, no? Okay, let's put it this way then. We have to have inside the app a layout. We cannot make it as a route group. Cool. Then we can remove this, and then we can have this is private and all of these are public. Right. Okay, and then we can also go to layout, remove this. This should work. Okay, so this is how it will be. This never changes. We have to make sure that the app always consists of layout page, so that the new folder does not automatically create the layout, right, which is what was happening by the Next.js, and it automatically creates the layout. Okay, but these parentheses folder are not kind of like given any sort of importance in terms of the routing, right? For example, I cannot do, hopefully I can cannot do this private this. Yep, this is wrong. Okay, even though, so basically that parenthesis is like kind of like not regarded as anything. Okay, ठीक है. By site section, intent, or team, yes, that could be possible. Or marketing, for example, backend, things like that. Enabling nested layout in the same route segment level, creating multiple nested layout in the same segment, including multiple route layouts. Let's see what this is. Okay, it's a part of that only. So adding a layout to the subset of routes in segment. Organize routes without affecting the URL path. Yes. Route groups does not affect the URL path, thankfully. Route groups convention is this folder name. They don't affect the URL path. Yep, this is how it is. So we have, yes, layout has to be above, marketing, then about, and all of that. Also, we cannot have a clashing about and clashing this. Pretty sure about this. Layout and page layout should be outside, should be directly inside the app folder, right? And if inside this I say about, and then I say page.tsx, and then I say about, this won't be possible. This basically means about private. This literally means one thing, and that is to say, first of all, let's get the error. See, you cannot have two parallel pages that resolve to the same path. This literally means this is purely for us developers to have a better like better segmentation, right? We cannot, this is purely for grouping purpose during development and does not mean that we can have same folder inside two different groups. Okay, all right, figure it out. This will work now. Already remove it now. Yeah, it's already removed. Share the same URL. You can create a different layout for each group by adding a layout.js. Yes, this is also possible. We just did exactly that. So we can have different layout for each group. Opting specific segments into route. This is going to be // and this will be /checkout. For specific segment into a layout, create a new route and move the routes that share the same layout into the group. The routes inside the group will not share the layout of the checkout. Okay, this is also good for opting shared layout between two different paths. Tool, creating multiple route layouts. To create a multiple route layouts, remove the top level layout file, each route group. This is useful for partners and application into sections that have completely different UI or experience. The HTML body and tag needs to be added to each layout. Okay, an example. What about the global state management? We can have multiple route layouts in this if we remove the main app layout for app, right? Good to know. The naming of the route groups has no special significance other than for the organization. They do not affect the URL path. Routes that include route groups should not resolve to the same URL path as other routes. For example, yep, if you use multiple route layouts without a top level layout file, your homepage file, homepage.js file should be defined in one of the route groups. For example, this multiple route layouts without the top level, this, okay. Navigation across multiple route layouts will cause a full page reload as opposed to the client-side navigation. For example, navigation from cart that uses this to block that uses this will cause this only applies to multiple route layouts. Okay, this is important, and that means I can just copy pasta the entire thing. Okay, now dynamic routes. When you don't know exact segment names ahead of time and want to create routes from dynamic data, you can use dynamic segments that are filled in at request time or pre-rendered at build. A dynamic segment can be created by wrapping the folder's name in square brackets. We already did it with the blocks ID. Okay. Dynamic segments are passed as params props to layout, page, route, and generate metadata function. We already looked into this. I mean this, right? Not this. So this is for the page. This is getting passed as string, and we can have this. Okay. Route slug. Cool. See the get static params page to learn how to generate params for segment. Okay. Dynamic segments are equivalent to dynamic routes in the pages directory. Where's the dynamic segments? What? Generating static params. Okay, we have this export generation. This we are fetching it from here, and function can be used in combination with dynamic route segments to statically generate routes and build time instead of on-demand request time. So till now we were doing like SSR on time request. Now it can be like, if we do it like this. Okay, if we do it like this, we are basically fetching the entire post, then we are resolving it, and then we are mapping it with the post, and then we are saying the slug is post dot slug. Nope. The primary benefit of, okay, I think I'll continue it tomorrow. It's too late. I have to sleep, and we will start from here. I can remove this. Dynamic routes can be added. Loading UI and streaming, error handling, and all of that we will look into it tomorrow. It's too much for today. And then we have data fetching as well. Let's continue it tomorrow. Okay, thanks. Bye.